A father and son are walking down the sidewalk. It's a beautiful day out. My. Absolutely gorgeous. Suddenly they come across two dogs having sex, connected sexually, if you know what I'm saying. The boy is only 5 years of age, looks at his father and says, "Papa, why do you suppose they're doing that?" The father says, "Yes." Right. All right, you see the one in the back there. He hurt his front paws. That's right, he's got his front paws, and the one in front there. That's it, he hurt his front paws. And the one in the front is helping him to the hospital. That's what's happening. And the son says, "Isn't that like life, Dad? You help somebody out and they fuck you in the ass." Welcome back to a very special edition, the first themed edition of Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I am, as always, Chat Show. Thanks for joining us here on Show 57. It's a Heinz special. Yeah, we're all themed up. And tonight, if you're watching us live, you must know the premiere of Season 4 of Mad Men. We're nutty fans around this joint. And Jamie, Sammy, feelings about the big premiere tonight of the Mad Men?
This is the Super Bowl, New Year's, Chinese New Year's, Yom Kippur, all rolled into one for me.
Yom Kippur you're going to throw in?
Absolutely.
No shit. Wow. And Jamie?
Oh, you love me. I love any excuse for theming.
Yes.
I love to theme.
You are the
and
queen.
no, I am very excited. I watched the season finale of Season 3 last night to catch up.
Oh, I thought we were all doing that today before.
Well, I'm going to be busy with the party, like serving and hostessing.
You really prepared.
I really prepared.
You said, I'm not going to be able to watch it. The rest of you knuckleheads get to watch, so you checked it out last night. Yeah, no, it's very exciting. It's a big, how long do we wait this year? Seems like longer, no?
Less than a year.
Less than a year, you got it all mapped out. Well, I'm sure I can quiz my guest about that specifically, but we're very excited, and that's why we're all dressed up like knuckleheads. Or in the case of Jamie, like a gorgeous dame. Sam, too, gorgeous dame. I want to thank Jeremy Sheldon, Brian Tyler, and Jeremy R. Scott for the opening credits and the fabulous spinning things, the music, and of course the website. Much thanks to them. We have many guests lined up for the first time, and it feels so weird to have 8 shows in a row booked ahead of time. I will tell you more about the coming guests a little later, but for now, we're going to do one of our allegedly new favorite pieces of business called Ask Kevin. If only there were a graphic.
Ask Kevin.
Yeah, look at that. These are actual emails and tweets and contact at the website. Just go to contact at kevinpollakschatshow.com if you want to offer up one of your very own Ask Kevins. This one is written to us from Doe. I repeat, Doe. No. The first one's Tweak Bunny? I have them backwards. Sorry. Tweak Bunny. Dear Kevin, are there any impressions that you are unable to do that you wish you could do? I was reading this earlier, just going over the copy in preparation before it was loaded up into the teleprompter. Now, we're getting so slick around here. It took us a year and a half to stop saying we're not ready, and yet, clearly, we're ready. While reading the question aloud, our guest today said, "That's a good question." And it's remarkable to me that everyone who's ever asked this question of me, or now has heard the question asked of me, thinks it's a fantastic question across the board. I, on the other hand, loathe this question, and I'll tell you why. Nothing good comes from it. I don't mind admitting my weaknesses almost as much if I were to dare balance them against talking about my strengths. But there's nothing funny here. There's a bunch of people I can't do, and if I were to do them now, you'd go, yeah, you're right, you can't do them. W, I struggled with our knucklehead puppet president of 8 years like a maniac. And it wasn't until he was out of office that I finally found the word. It's always a word. But I couldn't do it for 8 years. He got out of office and the word is fellers. Like right now, he's got to be stopping by the engineers that are gathered around a huge table working on the blueprints for the George W. Presidential Library, which of course you know is going to happen. And we're all very excited around here. I'm sure you are too, just to see those giant crayons. But those engineers are sitting around that table, and I'm sure in my mind, W stops by. Hey fellers, we're going to eat some books. Reading cat. That's lunch. So for 8 years, struggle with that, and that's the best I can come up with after 8 years. It's pretty lame still. So really, yeah, there's been lots. It's just out of my wheelhouse. People would ask back in the day, do you do any women? Really? Not that you're going to know about. No, that's a dress-up time for me when I'm alone. And then this next question of Ask Kevin does.
I just have to.
Yeah, Sammy, please jump right in.
Your Grover Cleveland could use a little work. Well, just while we're talking about.
You know, it's funny you say that because in the movie The Right Stuff, I do the voice of Dwight D. Eisenhower. They got an actor that looked exactly like him. I was a comedian. You're talking about obscure.
I don't think Eisenhower is as obscure as Cleveland.
No.
Or the other way, but.
No, just to the generation now. So they got an actor that looked just like him, and it was me that said, the first American in space, not going to be a chimpanzee. I don't know what he sounds like. I listened to some tapes.
I learned this past week that the name of the first chimpanzee in space.
What is that chimpanzee's name?
Ham.
Stop it.
Yes.
Wow.
I was like, why is it ham? That's not a pig, it's a chimp.
The first attractive.
Should be like Gus
The
or
first
Charlie.
attractive monkey was named Ham.
Yeah. First
most
chimp in space, ham.
Holy shit. Worst gig is the topic of the next Ask Kevin. This one indeed from Doe. That's D''OH for those of you not following along clearly. Hey, Kevin. Nice story. Great show. Stop it. Got a general comedy question for you. I'm in a local improv group. Are you? And we were recently booked at an event which was, how should I put this? Not conducive to comedy of almost any kind at all. I don't think the promoter understood what sort of atmosphere improv works best in, but we needed the money. It didn't go well. Let's just leave it at that. I love hearing comedians tell bad gig stories, so this is kind of a three-parter. Is it, Doe? 3 parts? What's your worst gig story? I would have to narrow it a little more down to worst introduction, because that's my fondest memory of worst moment from a gig. In the early days, when your introduction's really overly important because you don't really have an act yet, so you want the MC to get their attention, like, ooh, this guy might not be bad. The introduction really needs to grab them. So I'm in the kitchen, which was the dressing room for this particular restaurant/comedy night, and this is what I hear after preparing the introduction and giving it to the MC. Ladies and gentlemen, we're out of Thousand Island, and now here's... Question B, have you ever walked into a gig knowing it's not going to go well, that the atmosphere was just not right? Yeah, came from it this weekend, Peoria, Illinois. C, do you have a story where you had a bad room or potential nightmare gig and overcame it and won the crowd? Dude, get over this. It's one little experience in your life. You're going to be okay. Take a knee and fucking sob already. It's done. You're going to be all right. By the way, the only way your life is going to be great is if you have these stories to fall back on. I do remember once, though, there was a heckler in the front who just would not stop. He's clearly drunk. You know, I got the 5, 6 great comeback lines, and then I'm tapped, and he just wouldn't stop. So it was like, all right, fine. It was so bad that I finally said to him, if you think, this is so easy, why don't you come up here? He stands up. He continued standing up for what seemed like 10 minutes. That's how tall this guy was. And then he walked up onto the stage. He must have been 6'5", dwarfing the tiny Jew by almost a foot. And I handed him the mic as he came towards me, a mountain of a human being. I handed him the mic, jumped off the stage, and he proceeded to try to speak. I jumped into his seat and heckled him for about 4 minutes before he started to weep like a little girl and walked off the stage. That was as scared as I've ever been with not a bad outcome. Boy, I hope that's the end of your questions. And then it says by Valley Sap. So who's that? Is this another one? No. Oh, Christ. Has there ever been an impression you've tried? No, that's the one we're not doing. We already did that one. So that's it. Let's wrap up the Ask Kevin. Oh, boy. That was just shy of fun. If you want to, as I said, offer up any of your questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Just write to contact@kevinpollakschatShow.com. What, did they just run the Ask Kevin? God bless you. I love the TriCaster when it's fully loaded. And we do have another way for you to be a part of the show, of course, and that's the Larry King game. You can write in your own and go to the site, actually, and shoot a little video of yourself doing the Larry King game. We've had plenty of those. And if you go to KevinPollakschatShow.com, you can see all the archived episodes of some of you folks shooting your own version of the Larry King game. This person is going to go away with a Kevin Pollak's t-shirt. So Adam Z from Tel Aviv, Israel, we accept these. Write us again and give us your address and shirt size, buddy, so we can send you a winning t-shirt, Kevin Pollak's Chat Show t-shirt for this submission, Larry King game, from Adam Z. When I get out of the shower, I dry my nuts off using an oscillating fan. I get my exercise by trying to stand in front of it. Flushing Meadows, you're on. Nice work, Adam Z. Give my best to the chuppah. And or mishbucha that may be gathered around the chuppah.
Yeah, they're under.
Or under, yes. I will see you next Shavuos. Your computer was not buffering. That was me. All right. Believe it or not, and I know this is hard for a lot of you to believe if you're joining us for the first time, live or in the after effect of iTunes and various locales, we have a couple of sponsors on the show. I know, it's shocking. Idiots forking over dough, so we talk about them. The first one up is your Mosey.com. Oh, yeah. We love the Mosey.com, and I'll tell you why. You can be sure your digital life will always be there when you need it. Online backup service with more than 1 million customers backing up more than 25 petabytes of information. I just had these put in. Back up your critical data, protect your personal files. Offerings, one for home use, stuff like your photos, videos, and musics. And another for business, which includes administrative feature and 24-hour customer support. How does that sound? Set it up once, never think about it again. Unlimited online backup plans start at only $4.95 a month. That's $4.95 a month. Mosey.com. Check it out. Petabytes. That's the secret word. And our second sponsor, of course, PickClick.com. PickClick is a visual search engine that helps you shop more effectively. How, you ask? Shut the hell up. Browse through photos from your favorite sites to find exactly what you want, like some of these gals. Fast! Up to 12 times faster for browsing your gals than just going to the actual gal site. Featured sites include eBay, Amazon, Etsy, that's handmade items, Plenty of Fish, dating, Yelp, food and businesses, allrecipes.com, yes, recipes, and of course, Google. Categories make it easy to zero in on just the content you want. Scroll bar allows you to make the images big or as small as you like. PickClick.com. Yay! I almost got through it. And no F-bombs this week. One of the two sponsors, I'm not going to say which one, said, you know, we love that Kevin reads the ads live. Could he not, maybe, swear when he does it? My bad, my mistake. I'm done with that portion. Fuckity fuck, 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 fuck. Ahem. And now on to the guest portion of the show. The creation and execution of a truly original television series has been as elusive as winning the lottery since the inception of transmitting pictures through the airways in the late 1940s. While in its infancy, the great Fred Allen said the reason television was referred to as a medium was because it was never rare nor well done. Well, of course, Fred was a radio star whose prophetic words were born more from fear than brilliant insight. Why then, you may ask, more than 60 years later, is it so rare that TV is well done? The answer, albeit obvious, is the writers who create new shows are never encouraged, allowed, or employed to be original. History, unfortunately, is on the side of the powers that be at the networks who refuse the rare and water down the well done. TV history has proven that the shows with the most Nielsen viewers are anything but original 99% of the time. It's even true in the case of the cable networks, where their promises of alternative, bold, edgy dramas, you get shows that with the most viewers at present, in fact. The Closer, while being an extremely well-written and acted show, is in fact a procedural cop drama and therefore not remotely original in concept. For years, the annual Emmy Award leader, HBO, boasted it's not TV, it's HBO. Go fuck yourself. But even their most original show, The Wire, had the lowest viewer numbers every season it aired by HBO subscribers who, no less, literally paid for the right to ignore the best that network had to offer. All the more impressive then, when a few years ago a show came along that was so original, so unlike anything else on TV, that it single-handedly branded an entire network. The all-movie network AMC offered its first scripted program, a show called Mad Men. And when the pilot episode ended, AMC was the most talked about network in the industry overnight. Mad Men would then make history, not just for the upstart network, but for the show's creator, Matt Weiner, by winning the Emmy Award for Best Drama of the Year its first 2 years on air. It was recently nominated for a third. Also nominated for a third time were two of Mad Men actors, a feat, I assure you, is never as easy as these two gifted men make it look. One of them, the lead of the show, John Hamm, sat across from me at this desk and did his damnedest to appear human, if not real. None of us mere mortals were fooled. As for his being thrice nominated, he's the lead, and by definition has the most to do and therefore the greatest chance to shine. The second actor, however, has achieved a much greater trifecta. He's part of a true ensemble. He's asked on a weekly basis to be a cog in the wheel, to be in support of the lead, as well as the story, and in the case of this particularly original work of art, he must be in support of the extremely period-specific wardrobe, set design, props, and dialogue. Yet each year this history-making show has aired, he is the only member of the supporting cast that has been nominated for Best Supporting Actor. This actor, in my opinion, is the one making history by pulling off the impossible. He is stealing scenes on a show that even features furniture that pulls more focus than any other show on TV. Please welcome a true original, John Slattery. Forgive my sermon. I couldn't help myself. I couldn't help myself. I got carried away through histrionics.
It was fantastic.
But
I'm sorry I'm underdressed.
We're so thrilled that we did not
It's so
tell you
themed up.
that we were theming it up. I was getting out of the shower and I said to Jamie, I think he's going to be freaked out.
No, I was a little freaked out. I almost hit reverse and pulled right out of the parking lot.
You got out of the car and said, I'm not dressed. Yeah. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very excited.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, well, it's nice of you to show on such an important day. For
An auspicious evening?
Yeah.
I've got nothing to do.
You had a big screening with the cast and crew on Tuesday? Was that what went down?
We did. We had a premiere.
A premiere, and how was that?
I didn't go.
Of course not.
I was feeling poorly that day. I missed work.
Did you?
I did, for the first time ever. I've never missed work before.
That's a bold statement. I'm going to need you to back up.
I missed a play. An evening of a performance of a play one time.
Well, that's why they have understudies.
I was performing with Nathan Lane, who said, "You got to be shitting me. Mike Nichols is here." I said, "Really? There's nothing I could. I'm throwing up. You got to be kidding me!" And it was that night that I missed. I was doing a play called the
I have
Laughter
here
on the 23rd Floor. I think.
Yes.
I think I did 2 plays with Nathan, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we never missed a day on this show, and I can't remember if I've ever missed any other. And yeah, so I thought skipping work and then going to the party might not be such a good idea.
Yeah.
Although I did feel better.
Because
by the time I could have gone to the party, yeah. I felt pretty good by then.
Yeah, of course.
It's a good story.
It's a fantastic story.
Yeah.
And in fact, I want to ask about sharing the stage with Nathan Lane, because I think I've told the story already on the show of my experience of testing with Nathan Lane for CBS in front of that little dark theater area. Have you ever been to the little theater?
I have.
Testing, network testing?
Yeah.
Where they sit in the dark in about 5 rows of theater seats?
It's a good room.
Oh my, it's ice cold in there.
Yeah.
And we were doing, there was this show called Morton and Hayes, and it featured 2 comic actors from the 30s, shot as if it were done in the 30s. So there was that fast-paced patter between this this comedy team.
Yeah.
And it's a 6-minute audition, and in the middle of it, after getting no laughs, nothing, crickets for 3 minutes into the 6 minutes, Nathan leans out into the darkened seats and says, "This is going well, huh?"
Yeah.
Which was a great thing to do with a scene partner.
Yeah.
So your dossier shows that your New York theater debut was the first play you did with Nathan.
Mm-hmm. The Lisbon Traviata.
Right.
Terrence McNally play, yeah.
Yeah. So had you auditioned for much theater at that point in New York?
You know, I'd done some obscure off stuff, you know, backstage. You know, I used to, you know, color copy someone else's equity card to get into those
Right.
open call auditions and try to get a job that way, and that never happened. And yeah, but I did get some other, you know, fringy little things and did those. And that was the first, you know, it was off Broadway, but it was obviously established. Terrence McNally was a big play.
Huge. You had,
Terrence
done
McNally.
you had done a Rand McNally play prior to that.
Right. That was we did that on the road. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That was like T-ball,
Sorry.
wasn't it?
It really
Just
was.
gotta set that up for you.
Yeah, so that was and I had to be naked in the play.
I'm sorry? Sound like you said you had to be naked.
I had to be naked in the play.
Really?
Is this thing on? Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the front row certainly knew.
And you talk about cold rooms.
I see.
Youch.
Did you, what the hell?
Did I? What are you going to say? Did I give it a? What's the first thought? Did you? What did you?
Did you have to be naked for the
give me some-
audition? I think is.
You know what? I actually had to take my shirt off because the director was gay. No, because he said because you know he had auditioned, he had done a play once where someone had to take their clothes off, and then he didn't make them do that, and then he got there and they had like a big hole in their chest or something, and
Right.
so that was his excuse. But
You fell for it?
yeah, I did. I wanted the job.
Sure.
And then I got the job, and I was horrified. And I remembered, you know, outside on 8th Avenue at a phone booth. Remember those?
Oh.
And finding out I got the job,
Right.
and thinking, holy shit, I have to be naked.
Were you the only cast member that had to be naked?
Yeah.
Please tell me Nathan
Yes,
Lane
I
was not naked.
He was
on
not
stage.
naked.
Okay.
No.
'Cause
I think he used to sneak around in the second act and watch me be naked. I think
Do
I caught
you?
him once.
he didn't get enough during rehearsals.
Rehearsals well, that was the worst part because you know they tape those lines on the floor and there's some shitty furniture and there's no walls and everybody's right there at a long table and the director said, look, I normally wouldn't do this, but I'm afraid if you've never done this before, you get out in front of an audience, you might freeze and you have a heart attack or something. So you got to do this in pick a day. And then you got to get it over with. So I said, all right.
That's probably a good
3
idea.
weeks from now, I'll do this. And yeah. And then the day came, and they're getting closer and closer to where I come on. And I'm thinking, oh, shit. And I have to literally stand up in a room this size with people, you know, there and take your clothes off. Which is even worse than having to show up naked, is take your clothes off one piece at a time.
On stage.
Yeah, well, I didn't have to do that. In the play, I come out naked. I open the door and walk out naked.
Of course. So you don't have to worry about the nightmares.
Yeah,
the night before, where everyone has that terrible nightmare. They're on stage and they're naked.
Yeah, it was horrible. I mean, at first, and then it got easier because
It's almost like careful what you wish. Here you finally got this great
New
York theater opportunity.
Jesus,
and
it was a
by the
nightmare.
way, you have to be naked.
Yeah.
And so, how many performances of this did we do?
It was pretty succell. It
And
moved
by we,
from
I mean you and your penis.
me and my penis did it at the Manhattan Theater Club first, and then we moved it to the Promenade Theater, no longer in existence. 70. Did you ever work there? 76th and Broadway.
Oh no.
It's a great place. So all in all, it ran like, I don't know, 8 months. And then it ran here and all over. They did it everywhere. I chose not to participate after that.
Right. Prior to this, you grew up in the near the Boston, Mass. You were born in Boston, according to the dossier. Grew up nearby, and 4 older sisters. I need to know a little bit about that. I have one sibling. He's a 2-year-old brother. 2-year older.
2-year-old still?
Yeah, it's so weird. We were able to freeze him.
Wow, that's wild.
2-year older brother. So no sisters, let alone 4 older sisters.
4 older sisters, yeah.
So before they began calling you
Joanne.
Vidal Sassoon.
Yeah. Where'd that come? How did you find that?
Oh,
Yeah.
buddy, we have our
Did
ways.
you talk to my sister Julie?
I should
She
have.
still calls me that.
Is she really?
No.
No. But 4 older sisters.
4 older sisters: Ellen, Nan, Julie, and Lee. Yep.
And they dressed you up. You were like a little doll originally?
You know, yeah. They weren't that impressed with me. They used to dress me up and pretend that it was time to go to school. You know, at 9:30 at night, and I'd be on the table like this, and my mother would walk in, having waited for my father to come home to eat dinner with him, and go, "God damn it, who did?" And go, "Come here, go, stupid. Go put your pajamas back on and go back to bed." Yeah, they were, you know, they were. I mean, by the time my oldest sister had, you know, was that much older than me. I think she's 6 years older than me, so she was gone by the time
Right.
you know, most of the time. And then the other one was in trouble all the time, and then she used to run away. She vamoosed too. So it was really the 2 of them that were there, and then the one closest to me is 3 years older than me. So by the time I got to high school, she was gone too. So, and then my younger brother was 3 years younger. Is 3 years younger than I am.
Yeah, there's a younger. So I guess I just find it shocking that an Irish Catholic family had 6 children.
Really?
That's the first
Yeah.
thing that I find
Yeah.
bizarre.
It is shocking.
Do you mean only 6?
And it's shocking that every other family I knew had even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, the McAuliffes and the Dohertys and the Guineys and the Guineys. And you know, it wasn't until I got away from Boston where someone said Guiney, and it, you know, they were my family's best friends, and I thought that name was that was just a common name. And then,
At what age during this process do you have any inclination towards acting, movies, theater? When is that sort of thing catching your eye even?
movies. I mean, all the time. I mean, I'd stay up till, you know, 2 in the morning.
Did one of the sisters drag you to the movie?
No, they were old movies.
Movie house?
Old movies. I remember being shocked when I found out Katharine Hepburn was like a 85-year-old woman. There was some week-long marathon, I don't know, 2-day, 3-day marathon
Right.
on Channel 56 of, you know, Katharine Hepburn movies, and I was like, oh man. And you know, she was 100 when I found out. When I you know, the next day, her picture was in the paper.
She's
I
100.
hit myself.
Yeah.
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 What happened to her? Yeah, I used to stay up all night and watch movies and then try to get to school the next day. And there was no acting. I mean, there was no theater. You know, there was no community theater there.
No one in
for
your
me.
family had any other aspirations? Or?
No, just a bunch of funny drunks.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know. I went to Catholic University, and that was the only
Right.
time I had any theater training, and I only went there because my sister went there, and I wasn't really that good a student.
I
in high
wanted to ask
school.
you about the Catholic University of America.
Of America.
That's such a bold title for a school.
It really
the
is
Catholic University
bold.
of America.
Yeah, it says it all. That's what they think of themselves. They're a bunch
Yeah.
of bozos.
Were there any Kennedys there?
There were no Kennedys there, not that I know of.
Right.
There might have been. I don't know. They have a good law school. I mean, it's a good school.
So at what point while you're there are you starting to lean towards the theater? Pretty early on?
Well, when I got there, I actually, that's what I signed up for, or my mother signed me up for it. So I guess my mother had some sort of, I mean,
What were you thinking before she did that?
I was thinking I just wanted to get the hell out
I'm
of
supposed to
Boston.
go to university.
Yeah,
One of
yeah, I knew I
those?
was going to go somewhere, but I was really, you know, I was hanging out with the less than desirables a lot.
Were you visiting the wrong side of the tracks?
Not so much. I mean, there wasn't really that, you couldn't go that far in the St. Sebastian's Country Day School. There wasn't really that far down you could travel.
Right.
You know what I mean?
How old were you before you saw your first Jew? I think that's the question. That
You know what? No, I grew up in Newton, Massachusetts, you know, which is otherwise known as Jewton, Massachusetts.
Is
Yeah.
it really?
And it's a big place, and there's a lot of Jews there.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, there better
Matthew Rittenberg, my first Jew. There you go.
be. My first
My
Jew.
first Jew.
That should be the name
Hope
of your
you're still alive, buddy.
That should be the name of your first.
He had a big lump on his head. I don't know. So maybe who knows? All I remember was he was a Jew and he had a big lump on his head.
No, it was just one of his horns.
And his dad,
That's
used
all.
to go. And his dad had a really bad temper.
Really? A Jew with
Yeah.
a short temper?
And he used to go, "You, what do you call him? You dumb bunny," like really intensely. And I thought, I got to get out of the car. I got to get out of the Rittenberg's car.
The Rittenbergs, my first Jews.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm guessing, speaking of the Four Sisters, before we get too far
Yes,
away
I
from
meant,
it, when
sorry
you-
to jump ahead.
No, I'm jumping around. When you finally started to work on shows like Sex and the City and Desperate Housewives, I can't imagine your Four Sisters were at all happy about that.
Well, going back to the naked thing, they weren't happy. No, nobody was happy about that. My father, least of all. I mean, like, he wasn't not happy about it. They were very supportive. I mean, you know, no one ever came along and did this before, so they were like, yeah, give it a shot, you know, see. And that being the first job, and he came to the play.
Oh my God!
And I could hear him in the front, and they put him in the front row. And I could hear him, and he's like this, and he's just like, I could hear. I think I heard him say, "Oh God." I mean, I was only naked for a minute. I just came out and found my pants,
So you hadn't
and basically
warned him?
put my pants on. No, he knew.
Oh, he
my
knew.
mother did not come to the play.
Because she knew and chose
She
not.
said, "I don't want to see you naked," and I'm like. I can see me not wanting to see you naked. You've seen me naked.
Yeah, my whole life.
Yeah. She didn't come to see the play.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, but
I
only
guess your
because of
dad's-
that. It freaked her out. I guess she didn't want to deal. She couldn't deal with that. But
That's you know, you're still her little boy at some point. But by the way, your dad's reaction perfect.
Yeah.
Because let's compare it to you coming out of stage naked, and he says, "All right, here we go." You know, then that's a
Finally.
bad reaction from Dad. I think what you got is perfect.
That's right. That's just what you want.
Yeah. No, I meant were your sisters particularly tickled when you got onto a
Yeah.
show that perhaps they were big fans of, assuming foolishly that they liked either Sex and the City or Desperate Housewives?
I don't think they watched. Maybe Sex and the City. Probably Sex and the City more than Desperate Housewives. But yeah, you know, they get a charge out of all of it. I'm sure. You know,
Yeah.
civilians, they love it.
So you're right. Parents' idea of support, though, when you're in college and your mom is signing you up, clearly they're supportive.
They're very supportive, which
They're just thrilled that you're at university. That kind of.
I think
support?
I think they're thrilled that I got out of high school and
Right.
I wasn't killed in a car accident, and
I was so
and then I was
bored.
leaving. You know, I mean, I think they were like, "Go already." I mean, we got along, and I wasn't a total asshole. I mean, my mother would dispute that. For a time, there was a window. You know,
Leaving. How far away was university?
D.C. It's you know, it was
Far
a
enough.
10-hour train ride.
Sure. Were you bored in high school? I was bored.
Bored?
In high school. If the
I
teacher
was
wasn't
bored
into
at,
it.
Yeah, I was so bored. I mean, I didn't. You know, I was stoned and bored. You know, yeah, I would.
A very similar look, by the way.
Right, right.
Stoned and bored. That's what's
Right.
tough to tell.
Bored with most of it. Yeah, we had a good bunch of people there. I had a good time.
Right.
The school part of it bored me. Yeah.
So by the time you get to university, is it theater? Is that one of the few things that actually is exciting you, interests you, or are you still just kind of screwing off?
No, I actually really enjoyed that. I was still pretty disinterested in the liberal arts a part of it. You know.
But you're starting to find your first focus. as it
Yeah,
were?
and get some reinforcement, positive reinforcement when somebody says, "Well, that was pretty good," you know, and you think, "Oh, maybe I actually." I mean, you know, you continue to do something. Somebody tells you do that pretty well. You go, "All right, well, let's do that again."
Did it come kind of easy in terms of being on stage and the feeling of being in a play? And
I guess so. I mean, considering I had been in the chorus of something in junior high school, you know,
Right.
little tiny shit like that. So yeah, I mean, it was the training was good and bad. The teachers were, you know, I mean, I think I probably, if I had to do it again, I'd probably go to a more sophisticated program, you know, because it's really all the difference. I mean, if someone's telling you this is the way to do it, and they howl wind, you know, and they do it that way, and you go, really? That seems awful to me. And there was a lot of that.
yeah.
On the other hand, you had to get up there and stand there and hold your hands at your sides and be okay with that eventually, you know.
Right.
So yeah, you could get up to as much as you wanted there. There were stuff happening all over the place. It was a good facility. There was a bunch of different theaters, and so you could figure out.
So
ways
you're starting to
stay busy.
feel a little bit like this may be what you want to do?
Yeah, yeah.
Does it actually formulate in your mind as a career while you're there?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it formulated earlier than that. I mean, I remember thinking, somewhere along the line, watching all those movies, and then, Nicholas Nickleby. I remember watching that. Derek Jacobi's Hamlet. These things on Channel 2 and PBS.
All 17
watching
hours.
these things. I mean, I was home from school at Christmas or something, and didn't want to leave the house. I was so those made impressions in that I also thought people do this for a living. These movies aren't just happening. This is a job you could do.
So yeah, I mean, I can relate to that.
That happened a little earlier.
I can relate to that sense of the wonderment goes from being sort of mesmerized by what you're watching, and evolves into putting yourself into the scene in your mind.
Yeah.
As a possible future.
Combined with the feeling of I gotta get out of here. I mean, not so much the people, but what everybody's focusing on. I have no interest in any of this shit. And I want to get out of here. So that finding your way that way is very exciting. I mean, I feel so lucky that I can still do this because it is what I like doing.
Yeah.
I like the people I'm associated with. I like the whole world of it.
That's good to hear, because boy, there's nothing more annoying than actors whining. I'm not even sure it's a job.
Yeah, no, true.
It just seems like such a blessing.
When you look at other people's jobs, and a lot of people really hate their jobs, and you go, but they have to do because you
I think it's less than 5%.
Families, and is that what
of the country is employed doing something they enjoy?
People polled and said, yeah.
That's
a lot of shitty jobs out there. A lot of stuff has to get done.
Yes. And speaking of which, did you have any shit jobs early on?
I had
you were a waiter.
Yeah,
you hated being a waiter.
Shitty waiter.
Awful waiter.
The worst. I'll tell you. My sister was the manager of a restaurant in Boston called Gallagher's, which was a restaurant in the bank in a building that was the bank in the Thomas Crown Affair, which was shot in Boston. Steve McQueen. So it ceased being a bank. They bought it. They made a restaurant. It was a very kind of high tone tuxedo waitered restaurant and a tableside service.
Sure.
Caesar salad at the table,
Made
Chateaubriand, the whole bit.
Nice.
Yeah, my sister's the manager. So one day I'm working lunch and I'm a shitty waiter, and she goes, and she comes in to work the dinner shift, and I said, can I go home? It's Tuesday. There's nobody here. She goes, no, because it's you and Jose. And I said, okay. But she goes, but I have half a joint if you want to go take a few puffs and come back. So I go, all right. So I take it out and I take a puff or two, and I'm sitting like by the Trailways bus station, like right outside downtown Boston, and it's freezing, and go back inside, and the combination of smoking, taking one too many, and the heat rising, and all of a sudden I am like bug-eyed, and. Should I be telling this story?
Absolutely.
Is my mother going to see this? And I am high as a kite, and I come back in, and this other host was an old guy named Chester, who said, where the hell have you been, John? You got two parties at 6! And I'm like, parties at 6?
I love Chester.
Yeah.
Can I just say that? I want to go on record early. I love Chester. Please don't stop doing Chester.
So I'm horrified. I go, oh, okay. And I get the little drink tray, and I go up to the table. They're across the room from each other, the two tables, too. Couldn't be further apart.
Perfect.
Which somehow makes it worse. So I got to go, and I take all the drink orders, and I'm trying to calm down, and my heart is going, and I go back into the kitchen, and it's like, a little skinny hallway. You got to get all the drinks. You got to go to the service bar. Everybody hates you back there anyway, and the service bartender's like, what the fuck? So I get all the drinks, and I get all their drinks to them successfully, and then I'm like, all right, I can do this. And I go to the next table, and it's clearly one guy taking all these people out to dinner.
Okay.
And he's like the local sports director for the local TV 38. Yeah,
nice.
He does all the Bruins and stuff. So I'm like, all right, he's the guy. Take all the drink orders, come back, go again, get the drinks, and I come back out, and I'm going around the table, and I've got 2 glasses of wine left, and somehow I get my hands like this, and I'm like, this is not. this is not the way to do this, but I think I can do it. And the tray is right behind this guy's head, and I'm pouring and I've got 2 glasses of wine on the tray, and I notice there's like a bubble on the cork. There's like a layer of cork on this thing, and I'm thinking, if I just focus on this, and put this, but I have to put. And the moment I took my eye off it, I went ooh, and I poured both glasses of wine down the crack. I mean, there's literally a millimeter of space between the guy's collar and his neck.
You hit the spot.
And the full glass of red wine goes right down that crack. And then followed by a colder white wine. So he goes, oh! and I, all I can do is go and put the tray on the floor.
Sure.
I put the tray on the floor and walk away, and I go through the kitchen doors, and I'm standing there in the little hallway, and Chester comes in again and he goes, Jesus Christ, John, what did you do now? And I said, all I could say was, trouble, Chester. And that was pretty much the end of my career there.
Oh, that's got to be the name of your second book, Trouble Chester.
Trouble, Chester.
I love those titles that mean nothing until you get to the chapter.
Yeah.
Trouble Chester.
So yes, I was a waiter.
Oh, that's fantastic. I wonder where Chester is now.
Oh, God bless him. He was a good guy, Chester.
Oh, of course.
Great guy.
Where the hell have you been?
Jesus Christ, John! That really heavy Boston accent, too. 2 parties of 6!
When's the last time you thought of Chester before today?
Only when I tell that story.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right. So, the move to New York shortly after college to pursue the theater happens fairly quickly, yeah, after college?
Yeah, within a year, I think I was working at that restaurant to save money to go to New York.
Okay, so then a little bit of the theater happens, but before you know it, you are shipping off to Yugoslavia.
Yes. Yeah.
For the much cried for and demanded TV version of The Dirty Dozen.
Yeah. Yeah. Fox's first season.
1987.
7.
It says 3 years this thing ran.
No.
No, couldn't have been, right?
6 episodes. It ran 6 episodes. I think we were there for 6. What is it? What does it say?
For some reason, it said on Fox from 87 to 90.
No. 87 to 87.
How many?
It ran from 87. It ran 6 episodes. I think they showed 6 of them.
But when you shipped out to shoot this thing, lock, stock, and barrel, this is a new experience for you as an actor.
Never
I'm
done
guessing.
a thing really. Not in front of a camera. I mean, I think I'd done commercials. I'd done a bunch of commercials.
Hadn't shot out of the country, hadn't gone away on location, hadn't left home for, I'm guessing, 3-4 months at least, maybe 6 to shoot all those episodes.
6 months in Zagreb, Yugoslavia.
Had you done any world traveling, even as a
Yeah, I had
voice?
been to Europe pretty recently, actually. Just before I went to New York, I had.
After the college,
And
the backpack thing?
Yeah, and my dad was in the leather business, a salesman, and he would import a lot of his stuff from France and Italy, and so I'd been a couple times, but.
All right. But not as a working actor.
No, not with any context, not with any reason to be there, really.
Or alone.
Or alone, right.
So let's talk about that.
Not that I can recall.
You're an actor now. You get your first series regular.
Yeah, which was amazing.
Is it like one of the first TV auditions you've been on?
Well, I'm trying to think. It was.
Because you'd only been in New York a couple of years, I think.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I didn't have very many auditions. I know that. I don't even know who I was represented by at the time, but.
Larry, and Steve.
Yeah, it must have been them. I did an audition once for an agent, and he said, "Yeah, okay, great. We'll call you in about 3 weeks." and then he actually ended up representing me later, and I was like, when I did a thing for you, you said we'll call you in 3 weeks, and he said, I said that, and he said, and what did you think? I said, I thought that was okay. Okay, good. I'll be waiting for you.
Yeah, I'll set my timer now.
3 weeks.
I remember the first person I read for, and I came to LA. I was as a stand-up comedian from San Francisco, and this person might manage me. Mm-hmm. And I read, she said, well, let me see you do a scene. And this is the first time I'd ever read a scene, let alone tried to act a scene. And she said, well, maybe you'll be a comedian. I mean, it was the least encouraging moment of my entire spectrum of show business, was the very first time. And she was not wrong. I'm sure it was absolutely horrific.
I had an audition once. A guy changed into a tuxedo while he was watching me.
Stop it.
Yep. What was his name? Barry Moss. I don't think he's with us anymore. I shouldn't say that.
Well, now we have to hope.
Now he's hopefully he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
We're
a
all
circle
hoping
in the
right now, in
square,
fact, that
and
he's dead.
I'm sitting there doing some bullshit audition. I'm sure it was terrible. And I'm watching him, and, and he's taking his pants off. I'm like, doing
can't
my
be normal.
thing, and I'm like, to no one. And by the time I finish, he's fully in a tuxedo. And he goes, "Come on, I'll walk you out."
You didn't realize
I guess you got to be.
he was a
someplace.
Bond villain.
Yeah, it was Sidney Greenstreet.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So, all right.
Oh, Zagreb, yeah.
So one of your first auditions leads to
Oh.
a series regular. That's
It
got to be
does.
a huge thing.
I actually I went. I had to do a screen test.
Sure.
Which I had never done, and they used to do then for television, which I wish they still did. Because it wasn't that horrible
dark room.
It was a set on some studio, and you would go, and they'd have furniture there, and a couple cameramen or whatever, a minimal crew. And it was lit, and you'd see what you actually looked like on film and whether you could actually act on film, as opposed to whether you could keep your nerves together in a room full of executives who weren't going to laugh at you, and it was going to,
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the final outcome. That's why I find these network tests so stupid.
Yeah.
Is because
They're
sitting there.
counterproductive.
It's a decision by committee, which I guess that's unavoidable in television, but like. What someone's doing in the room here has nothing to do with what it's going to look like on film in a scene.
Yeah.
Having rehearsed it, and at least a film test, it's closer to that.
Right.
So we did that, and that was an experience. So I flew to Los Angeles with all my stuff, thinking, well, if I don't get the job, I'll stay in L.A.
Did you know anyone in L.A.?
Yeah, my cousins had a bar not far from here at 11th and Wilshire called the Moss Hill Grill. Moss Hill being a place in Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts. My cousin, a guy named Dickie Carroll, came out here to go. What the hell did he come out here? I guess to go to college, to go to Pepperdine. Anyway, he made it out here and then brought a whole bunch of other Boston guys out to work at Gladstone's.
Wow.
Kind of a tourist place
Yeah,
on the beach. And anyway, they had a bar, and that was the only phone we had. There were no cell phones.
Sure.
Staying at his house with my younger brother who had just finished college, and we thought, well, if I don't get the job, we'll stay here for a while.
So you get the job, and how soon after do you have to ship out to Yugoslavia?
A couple weeks later.
And your younger brother's like,
my younger brother says, well, all right, I'll stay. So he stayed, got a job at Gladstone's, and he and then eventually he came to Yugoslavia.
To hang out.
Yeah, just to sort of freeload because he was just out of college. And,
Right.
yeah. So I got but I literally had to return the rent-a-car, ugly duckling car rental, because I had no money. And walking back up Wilshire, he comes out of the bar. They called the bar to say, you got the job. And that was like we were literally on fumes. And
now your life's going to change.
And then all of a sudden I was making, money. And yeah, so.
You probably didn't even know, with that lack of experience, what it even meant to score this gig as a series regular.
No clue.
So it wasn't a pilot, it was a put show?
It was that's right. It was 13 on
So
the
you didn't even
on
know
the
how
tube.
bizarre that was.
No.
Because of the lack of experience.
No.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Once again, ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, though, the guy said Jonas McCord. I don't know whatever happened to him. Total character. Executive producer said, I'll see you in Yugoslavia or something like that, as I walk out of the audition in New York, thinking, oh, really? And then there was that screen test step
Right.
to get through.
Where's Chester at this point?
Just going, he didn't show up.
He must have got a job
He must
finally.
have. Dirty dozen.
Why can't I be a dirty dozen?
I love Zagreb. Yeah.
Okay, one of the things we like to do here, by the by, is include a live viewing audience.
Oh.
And we offer them the opportunity to pose questions to you right through the chat room or the Twitter. You've avoided the Twitter successfully, is that right?
I have avoided the Twitter.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know where to begin.
Well, we can help you with that. But one of the ways that they do ask questions on this particular show is a little thing we like to call Tweet 5.
What happened?
Wow! That was a beautiful succession of fuck-ups. There it is. There's Dave Keckner showing us what a Tweet 5 looks like. T5 forever now.
Wow.
Okay, the tweet, wow.
We
The
fix
tweet,
some post.
yeah, we can fix that in post.
We'll fix it with the score.
You guys are
my.
great. This is great.
This is officially bullshit. The Tweet 5 is a series of 5 rapid-fire questions, Coke or Pepsi type of questions. This
Okay.
or that, no correct
Fire
answer.
away.
This one comes from @Tyler the Hung, or Tilla the Hung.
The hung?
Sure. Starting to get it?
I'm trying to get your audience. Yeah. Okay.
Scotch or absinthe?
Scotch.
Arthur Miller or Gene O'Neill?
O'Neill.
Little more in your wheelhouse on this next one, Biggie or Tupac?
Oh God, Tupac.
I love the sincerity. St. Patty's Day or Halloween?
St. Patty's Day. No, Halloween. You're right. You're right.
Go
That
your
was
instinct,
stupid.
John. You're correct.
Yeah.
You went with the obvious. College sports or the professionals?
I got to say the pros.
Yeah.
I don't watch much college football. There's too many teams.
Right.
I mean, I would, but I just I don't know. What was the time?
And you love all your Boston teams,
I do. I do.
as you should.
Yeah.
God damn it. This is a straight-up question from @Cockham Amy. What was the experience like on K Street? K Street came after traffic, yes?
Well after.
Okay, so first let's talk about traffic, because as we jump around here, you have worked with some masters prior to the genius Matt Weiner. Soderbergh, true original. Traffic
Totally.
is the movie he wins the Academy Award for. He had done such great work prior to that, but the film is huge in scope. It's epic, for fuck's sake. What is the experience like of just getting that particular job?
I don't even think I met him on that. I think I wrote a note and told him I was going to kill myself or something like that.
Is that how it
And then I'd
works?
name my kid after him or something like that. I literally was encouraged by my agent. They said, I don't even, just write him a letter, write him a note, tell him what you think.
Had that ever worked before?
I've never done that before. I'd never done it before. And I just thought this,
Sammy, are you aware that this was even a possibility as a thing to do? You just write the director a note?
I was told you could call casting directors, and that's how you could sometimes get parts.
You should
But
try
this,
that.
This writing the director a note business.
I bet Quentin would go for that.
I'm on it.
Are you 1 for 1 on the writing the note to the director?
Yeah.
So that
Never
was-
did it again.
So you,
but
you don't
I'm
want
not
to press
going
that
there
luck?
again. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what did you put in the note? Hey, I'll name my kid
I
after
literally
you.
said something like, I'd seen Schizopolis, which is a film that I don't even think he is so fond of anymore. Like a lot of those guys, they do something and they think it's probably
Goofy and
yeah. And it is goofy, but it's amazing. I don't know if you've ever
beautifully
seen this
goofy.
thing. He's
Him in the mirror.
incredibly talented in the mirror. Yeah, I mean,
ridiculous.
yeah,
I guess once you win an Oscar, you have to put the silliness aside
Right.
and take yourself seriously.
right.
So,
So
you couldn't get
anyway,
into audition, or you wouldn't meet people, or
I don't think.
how
you
do
know
you
what I
how do you
did?
get to that conversation with your agent where he says, "Oh, fuck it, write him a note."
You know what? I had auditioned for him once before for a movie called The Underneath, I think it was called.
And he had
Peter-
clearly seen enough.
yeah, he had seen. This nothing for you in this, or the next one,
Right.
Or maybe but maybe.
But if you write me a note,
But if you say the right things in a note, which is really, I think I said I'd name my kid after him or something stupid.
so you call your agent and say, "I sent the note," and then what happens?
Oh wait, no, I'd gone on tape for an actual part, and then somebody else got that part, and then he said, "But you can play this part." It's a one scene part
Right.
that isn't even, doesn't make much of an impact.
Doesn't even impress you.
No, even watching it, I'm not.
But you're
impressed
working with
myself.
someone that you admire so much, you wrote him a note.
I did. I mean, I just think the guy's brilliant, and fearless, and he's I don't know.
He's
People say that a
extraordinary.
lot. He's
No,
extraordinary.
He's extraordinary.
In a lot of ways. He's
Yeah.
he's a very, very
And he shoots the
bright
stuff
guy.
himself. He's his own DP, his own camera operator.
He's an amazing guy. He's really brilliant, really funny.
In the
as
little
calm as, I mean, able to project an air of calm in what turned out in K Street to be the most angst-causing experience he's ever had, or at least, you know, up till then. I mean, you'd never know it.
production-wise, K Street was a nightmare.
Well, it wasn't so much a nightmare because there were people that were you know, kind of clearing the path and making phone calls and securing these people like Hillary Clinton and McCain for us to shoot with. And it was a nightmare for Mary McCormick and myself because we didn't know anything. So we would go, well, what do we say though? And they'd say, it'll be fine. And
So no, not scripted.
oh, entirely unscripted. I mean, entirely. He had a little notebook that he would occasionally write like bank, capital, or you know, just as order of the day. And then he even stopped doing that. The thing was entirely in his head, never written down, not a word of it. I mean, except for the homework that we would do.
So every day you had no idea who you were going to act with or what scenes you might be doing.
Exactly.
Or what context they might be in.
And we had to know all the issues and all the shit that we were supposed to be trying to convince these people, like Tom Daschle, whose big thing is ethanol, that to vote with our guys because we're lobbyists, you know.
Right.
And so you'd have to front load the scene with all the stuff that you knew, hoping that they'd cut somewhere after that, and because after that you didn't know, there was nothing to say. The first scene that we did on that show was with Howard Dean. And he was in, he was out, he was in, he was out.
Right.
But I'm going, well, what do I say? And this was the first day of the first scene, the whole, you know, of the whole thing. And they're like, it'll be fine. Paul Begala is going to come down, and it's a debate prep scene with James Carville and Paul Begala and Howard Dean. They're preparing a debate for the Baltimore caucuses, which was going to start that presidential season of debates. And it was all really happening, and those guys make money doing that. They prep these candidates for debates, you know, telling them this is what this person's going to say, this is what the room's going to look like, this is what you should say, you know, and they basically go through it so that the person doesn't look like an idiot.
Right.
So they said, you're going to be in the scene with these guys. They're going to come by and tell you what to do. Well, their days are busy, and they don't have time to do that. They're just going to show up and do it because that's what they do. And Howard Dean's going to show up and be Howard Dean. And I'm like, but what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And they said, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
So every day was riddled with it'll be fine, it'll be fine.
Yeah, and then we get there, and Howard Dean shows up, and they go get him. I'm like, as who?
Yeah.
And they literally don't even have a character name, and they're like, and the one guy's on the phone with legal, going, can we call him? And they say, Tommy Flanagan. I think Flanagan. Yeah, go. And I have to go and pretend to be this guy and usher Howard Dean into this place, and the camera, you know, and the couple guys with cameras shooting, going down into the building, into like.
How did they get the show made without any sort of?
I have no idea. It was amazing. It was really ahead of its time, and if it had been a less dry news cycle, the thing would still be going, because I think it got as good numbers as Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh no, everybody was talking about it at the time. Absolutely. And then,
anyway, so that whole scene, I had nothing to say.
Right.
I didn't say anything until Soderbergh calls me on the phone, or on my cell phone that's on the table. My phone rings, and I'm like, while the scene's going on, and they go, "Hey, dummy, say something," you know. And I'm thinking, okay, yeah. And he says, "I'm going to send a waiter in. Tell them to shut up when the waiter comes in, because he's going to, you know, whatever." We were entirely making it up as we went along.
So scary as hell, and probably
scary as hell. Got shingles from it. I was so. I mean, and then eventually, just as the thing kind of got to its, they only did 10 episodes. Carville and Madeline kind of moved to the background because they weren't prepared to really go deep on their own life. You know, they have children, and they just do this sort of dog and pony show of who, you know, I'm on the right, you're on the left,
disagreeing.
And,
yeah.
And then the characters kind of started to emerge, and the whole thing really started to take on a life, and then they had to go do other stuff. And I think Steven was like, I can't do this anymore. He'd wake up. He said months later, every day, I would still wake up staring at the ceiling thinking, thank God I don't have to do that show anymore. And you'd never know it.
Wow. Yeah, to hear you describe it, I'm trying to figure out how you recover from the experience, quite frankly. I mean, like how many other things you have to do to cleanse your palate from something like that that's so nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
For beyond no net. There's no script, there's no character, there's no point of view, there's nothing.
And you got HBO going,
what the fuck is the show?
Yeah. And so they'd come. The schedule was we'd go down to D.C. from New York on the train on Monday, or I would. I saw Steven on the train a couple times. Sometimes he'd stay, whatever.
Right.
Shoot Monday. We'd talk, sit around a table, talk Monday. Shoot Tuesday, Wednesday, half of Thursday. He'd take the footage, cut overnight, and then on Friday they'd come and take the DVD and they'd put it on Sunday. No notes, because it was done. There was no way to go back and reshoot, so HBO would put it on.
We have to talk about something else because I need to lie down now.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
hearing what
Yeah.
you went through on this
Yeah.
show. Honest to God. I don't think I've ever heard of any working experience other than the circus. Today you are a clown, tomorrow you're the monkey.
Yeah. It was pretty
But at
great.
the same time, kind of a weird excitement, though, right?
Once you kind of figure you're not going to die from this, you know,
Right.
you
That's
and,
always-
and I would literally wake up in the middle of in the morning going, what the fuck am I doing?
Literally.
Yeah. And then it got kind of fun. Yeah.
Let's jump around a little bit
Yeah.
because I have all this stuff.
Am I talking too much?
No,
All right.
not possible. It's all we want. It's all we ask. But I do want to jump around as opposed to any sort of chronological.
Yeah.
You've got all this incredible work under your belt, leading up to a couple of years ago when the Mad Men thing happens. You've got all this theater, this incredible theater, and movie experiences, and coming in and out of hit television shows with such sort of ease, and sort of like all through the 90s, you're working on something into the middle of this decade. And then I imagine the opportunities would arise on occasion where your agent or someone would say, well, we would like to see, the networks actually build a show with you in mind as one of the leads. And then they say, well, we've got this script called Mad Men. And my understanding is when it first came to you, you were to be considered for Don Draper. That's how it was presented to you.
Mm-hmm. And I called and said, really? And they said, yeah, that's how it came down.
And so you're sent the script, the pilot script?
Sent the pilot script in New York. Yeah. And then, it was obviously a terrific script and the part. In the pilot script, Roger is not that prominent.
Not at all. In fact, when you're preparing for Don,
which I am, and I did my homework because it was that good. The more, the better it is, the more you want it, the more work you do on it. And,
well, how did you feel about the periodness of it? I mean, how did you feel about, there's one thing for the actors to go through the creative process, which is, wow, this is really rich, deep, original material. But you also, when you prepare and wrap your brain around that sort of auditioning situation, you have to think in terms of, is this a show I want to do for 5 or 6 years? And then when your agent tells you it's for a movie network, network that shows movies, that's got to factor in, because all those things are elements when an actor, before you read the script. In other words, your agent says, I got this thing, it's called Mad Men, and you have questions like, well, what is that? And they try to explain it to you. It's a period thing. Well, who's it for?
Yeah.
It's for AMC. What are you talking about?
Right.
Is it that kind of conversation?
Well, I mean, you read something that's so good and you would just go, well,
but how do they get?
I wish, where is it?
Yeah. It's so
because
great.
you're so excited by reading it, you almost think, I don't care where this is, I want to do this.
Right.
I mean, this part, I don't really. That's why I remember calling, thinking, are you sure I'm this guy? Yeah. So I think, you know what? I don't care where they're doing this thing. I want to be in this.
Right. So that was never a.
AMC, and then half of you think, well, because you do a pilot and you think, well, either it gets picked up and then you get paid and you do, and then you're on television, and you hope it's good, or you think there's no way this thing is ever going to go, and I'll get paid for this and I'll be finished with it, and I'll make some money and I'll move on to the next thing. So it was so kind of obscure where it was going to be that it almost alleviated all the concerns with where it was. You know, you think, well, it's AMC, but it's AMC, so who gives a shit? You know, I mean, no one's ever heard of this, and this will never see the, you know, not that it would never see the light of day, but
that is a concern when material's that good.
Yeah, you kind of think, well, it's grown up, it's subtle, which makes it obscure, you know, and it's on AMC, and you go, well,
couldn't be more obscure.
yeah, there's almost no reason not to do this. This thing, there's no way this thing is ever going to go anywhere. But you didn't even think that because you were so excited about how good it was.
Yeah.
So I went in and read, you know, I did my homework and I went in and read, and then they told me there.
You met with Matt.
Matt and Alan Taylor. And they were very serious. I mean,
Alan directed the pilot?
Alan directed the pilot.
Right.
Very, very talented guy.
It's one of the most extraordinary pilot scripts ever.
It's a great script. The whole, and the execution of it was great. I mean, they
Spoiler alert all throughout, but the fact that you find out in the last 45 seconds that he's married and has a family in the suburbs, that they took a whole pilot to share that information.
The fact that they got January Jones to play that part and convinced her that would be, that this was going to be a great part, but
as you mentioned, the Roger Sterling role, not bangs and whistles in the pilot, and she just wakes up in a bed.
Right.
Or doesn't even wake up.
I
think
forget.
she's just lying there. I think he just kisses her. Everybody's asleep.
Or no, he kisses her, and then he goes in and talks and sees the kids, and they're asleep, I think.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So you meet with them, and do you audition before you have this conversation?
Yeah. Twice. I mean, not twice, but go through it. And then he gives me notes, and then I go through it again. And then he says, okay, here's the thing. We have that guy. I think those were his actual words. I think we have that guy.
And at this
he
point,
is the guy.
What is is your instinct, what the fuck is going on
No,
here?
I'm like, well.
Because you just worked your ass off.
Yeah.
And you know you probably nailed it.
Not so much.
Okay.
I mean, I think, you know, I was all right, but in retrospect, I know why they didn't give me. Because, you know,
first of all,
when I saw him, and then I thought, well, I'm so not that guy.
But they didn't give it to you also because, as he just shared with you, we've already got this guy.
Yeah, and
so then he follows that with,
you know, him.
He follows that piece of information with what? That we've already got this guy.
With, well, yeah, with but this is the character that we would really like you for you to play. He didn't offer me the job, but
he was alluding.
I sensed that he was sort of almost offering me the job as consolation for not giving me the other job. And it wasn't until we did a radio interview somewhere that he actually said that. Yeah, well, we did do that on purpose because we didn't think you'd come in. If we said we wanted you to read for this guy, we didn't think you'd come in.
Holy shit.
So
he took a while to share that with you?
He took several years to share it with me. Yeah.
Oh my. Well, nonetheless.
Anyway,
he says,
but then he said, I promise you this will be a great part.
And that's a tough thing.
But it is, because you hear that all the time.
And you have to sign for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
If it's television, you have to commit yourself to it. And he's making you promises, and you've been made promises before.
Yeah, well, the good thing with the AMC thing was that it wasn't that established, and the money wasn't that stellar, and nobody really knew what it was, that you didn't have to sign for. I didn't sign for 5 years. I was just signed for the, you know, we'll do this, and then we'll see how it goes.
Wow. Because that never happens.
No. So there was a little bit of
So he had to fulfill his promises.
He sure did. You know, yeah, he did, and more.
All right, then let's talk about shooting the pilot, this ridiculous pilot. And you hadn't known John Hamm prior to this. Did you know any of the cast prior?
No.
So it's a group of strangers.
Yeah, no. January Jones. I'd done a movie with January Jones where she was.
If I may,
but I'd met. We hadn't ever worked together.
It seems to me, arguably, you have the most experience of all the actors going into the pilot in terms of.
Yeah, just by you know, hanging around.
Well, it's not just an age issue. You have.
Well, Robert Morse has some experience.
Forgive me. Yes, other than Robert.
Right. But yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, I'm I think 10 years older than Hamm, and everybody had worked. I mean, they'd all worked and done stuff, and some more than others. Probably based on how old they are. There's some guys that are pretty young, and I
didn't necessarily mean experience. They were all very experienced, for sure. We've had some of them on the show, and they certainly all had a body of work of some sort.
Yeah.
But you had been on very high-profile television shows, and some movies, but you're. I think what I'm trying to say is that you were by far the most recognizable face, by far. As a viewer, I can assure you of that. So your first experience of working with these people that you don't know, that pilot, is there a part of you that's thinking, how much of myself am I going to give to this? I'm not even sure this is the part that I really want to be doing. Because I know that feeling of you want to be there, but there's this thing that doesn't want to get emotionally involved in any pilot shooter. I don't want to attach my heart to something that could get crushed again.
Right. Yes. We just talked about this. He said, you were in a bad mood the whole time. And I said, I wasn't. Matt said that. And I said, no, I wasn't. He said, well, you seemed like you weren't necessarily ready to commit. And I wasn't.
But did you be able to articulate that it's an emotional attachment thing you're trying
I
to
think
avoid?
it's that. It's also, you sort of go, well, I mean, it's an emotional attachment. Do I want to? I mean, what's the reality of this thing actually going anywhere? And I
Also,
I don't know how, I worked a couple of days. I mean, it really wasn't that.
And the character is blasé organically.
Yeah, I mean, it was some funny stuff, and he didn't really have that much emotionally to do, and.
You don't get to know much in the pilot.
No, so there really wasn't much to attach to anyway, even if you were going to get attached to the whole experience. And and having been around longer than a lot of these people, I'd learned those lessons, where I don't need to find a new family every time I get a job.
So your first scene with Ham, and you're in the scene, and you're seeing who they hung this show on that you're now attached to. How quickly are you getting a sense of, oh fuck, God rarely gives with two hands, and he certainly did with this guy?
I watched him in the first scene. He had to get off the couch, call the secretary, say something to her, take a couple of aspirin, take off his shirt, tie first, take off his shirt, go in the drawer, get a new shirt, unwrap it,
Love that
unbutton it, put it on, button it up, do the tie, while all the while,
talking and listening
and being Don Draper, a lot of shit going on underneath, and being. And I'm watching this, and he's getting a little sweat beads on his lip.
Well, he's also going to do this 17 times in a row.
Yeah, but I'm watching him do, and he's supposed to be hungover, and I'm watching this guy do this thing, and we're screwing around while we're not shooting and making fun of other people, what they have to say, and and I'm like, and I'm thinking, this is. This person. This guy's actually going through what he's supposed to be going through, trying to do all this stuff at the same time, and only tiny little and most people you wouldn't know it, and unless you were in the proximity that I was, you wouldn't know it. And I think, that's not only who the character is, but that's how good this guy is. I mean, and he's only gotten better. I mean, I think I look back at that pilot, and I think of the work that he's done on this show since then. And the command that he has in this part, and the subtlety, and it's really hard to see. I mean, I think the fact that they haven't been giving this guy the kitchen sink award-wise is crazy, because he's,
Well, you touched on it a little bit in some of the stuff I was reading, what you were saying, so I don't mean to suggest these are my thoughts, because you articulated it well, which is the stoic nature of the character suggests that it be underplayed more often than not. And it tends to create such subtleties that the nuances of which are being lost compared to flashy performances of others.
Right. But
boy, is that magic to watch.
Yeah, it's really something to watch.
And
it's something to watch somebody grow in that, and where the outward boundary is pretty much the same. I mean, he still has to play everything just as close to the vest, because the stakes are just the same. But his knowledge of the character has grown.
Sure. As yours has.
So deeply, so just the sort of the movement in between and the moments that he can put together are fantastic. I mean, the stuff that he does this season is great.
Wow, we're all dying with bated breath. One of the first things that I saw he and January do that I remember being almost awestruck by the three different energies in the moment was when you get a little sloppy at their house and kind of hit on her, and she has this look of, you're not sure as an audience which way it's going to go, quite frankly, which allows Don Draper to blame the whole thing on her. And that dynamic between the three of you happened so subtly and yet succinctly. It looked like a choreographed dance. It was magnificent. So the essence, that was very early on in season 1, right? Wasn't it?
Season 1, yeah. Tim Hunter directed that episode, yeah.
So a sense of January, too, in her
you know,
nuanced performance.
again, somebody who really does it the simple, difficult way, which is to actually go through the experience while it's happening. So it is, I mean, I don't know, I guess that's what true and good acting is to actually
be in the moment.
Simulate the experience as close as you can. I mean, actually try to live the experience. But you know, there's so many distractions and there's so many limitations on that.
It's a great theory in acting class and nearly impossible to apply with teamsters and crew members.
Yeah, and the time limits and
the
and all the constraints that go into particularly television.
Got to get it
I
now.
think. Yeah, you know, people yelling and screaming and then
we don't have time for your close-up, so we really need you to hit this.
Yeah, lunch. We're in Grace, and the whole crew is looking at you like, I'm hungry. Can you do this already?
Yeah.
Can you? Yeah. She.
Again, with the stoicness and the.
But also the time, which, you know, just the freedom to do and take as much time as whatever it is takes. John can do that. I find myself like, well, I gotta rip through this. I have to try to slow myself down because I want to, you know, be finished with it, because I get all caught up in that. Like, we gotta go. Those guys just somehow have this ease of movement and time where she'll stand there awkwardly and it looks like she doesn't know what she's going to say because you're not supposed to.
Right.
So you find yourself just, what the hell is she going to do? You know, whether it's, I mean, acting with her or, you know, I've been directing. I directed one and so I've been sitting around watching a lot. At least I was last year and the year before, and so I would spend a lot of time looking at the monitor, watching her, and January particularly, in scenes with John, and you think she's making it up as she goes along. It almost looks like that.
Right.
When obviously she's not, and he's very particular. So I mean, she's making it look like that. She's very skilled.
Well, let's, as embarrassing and painful as it may be for you to try to speak objectively about your own skills, I think certainly by halfway through the first season, it's clear to you that you've placed all your money on the correct pony, that the gifts coming Roger Sterling's way and the complexities of his character were paid 1,000-fold on the promises that were made. And suddenly there's this other stoic figure that has his own Achilles heel and speaking also of the time, the period nature, I imagine you have to learn to walk differently. You have to learn to hold your physical gait and posture almost.
You know, the clothes go a long way. I mean, the being sort of cinched into that vest, and you know, and those and everything's tight and high, and you know, collar bars and ties and all that helps give it a sort of a skeleton that then eventually, you know, you just start, you know, standing up straighter, sitting. But I had to be encouraged by Matt particularly as to stand up straighter and be more formal.
Right. There's a certain
reminded of that.
You must have, because there's a certain rhythm, not even vernacular, but just rhythm of speaking and walking and everything that is in our contemporary lives that all has to go away.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's worn off. I mean, I think there was I look at that show and I think there's sometimes Vincent Kartheiser is a great example of someone who does that. He's so not that character. There's another guy that I don't think people think is acting. You know, I don't think they think he's acting. And he couldn't be further from that guy.
Everyone you talk to absolutely thinks that the actor portraying Pete Campbell himself is indeed a snake in the grass.
He's just the opposite of that
Jamie
guy.
and I went to some event and we could not believe Vincent's sort of the polar opposite of Pete Campbell.
Absolutely.
It was mind-boggling. Would you not agree, Jamie, the first time you met Vincent?
No, absolutely.
It was almost like...
And Pete's such a snake.
Yeah.
And he's the nicest, funniest, you know, most offhanded, you know, guy.
Silly
who's
and
just,
goofy and loves to shock you.
Yeah, yeah. But really has found this thing that there's a formality to that character that that the character almost can't understand why everyone else isn't as starched as he is.
Right.
But there was there was almost a permission or an expectation of that starched quality, and that sort of that had a good connotation to it in that time period, which now would come off as pretension or just plain bullshit, you know.
Right.
Whereas, you know, there was a
More water,
yeah,
sir?
yes, sir. So yeah, you know, you have to be reminded of that. But the clothes do go a long way, particularly for the women, and then you know, and then it becomes habitual.
So what point do you think that you and the other cast members are actually starting to feel comfortable so that you don't necessarily say the words, but you start to organically feel them, that this is right for my character and this isn't right for my character, and then they slowly become your own? I know one of the great quotes that Matt Weiner said in reference to you is that he would write these jokes for Roger Sterling, and then you, the actor, would make them actually feel like these are Roger's jokes, which said to me that you had sort of found the exact rhythm of who this guy was, and now you're like a writer's dream, because now the writer, well, he...
Yeah. I mean, I think he's... Well, I think I found the jokes so funny that I just laughed at them on camera. You know, I would just laugh at my own jokes, you know? I mean, or usually they were somebody else's jokes. You know, my father would say, you know, advertising is like a marriage, you know, you sometimes you get in it for the wrong reason and eventually they hit you in the face. And
Right.
laugh, because I thought it was funny. Or whatever. Or, and so it became, I guess it looked like I was getting a charge out of a joke that I had figured out myself.
Right.
You know, I remember in the third or so episode, you know, we waited a year before we shot the pilot, and there was a year and a half before we actually started shooting the show, because Matt had to go and finish Sopranos. So there was...
Holy crap.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a big...
Here's the good news. We're doing a first season. Here's the bad news. I'll see you in 18 months.
Right. They didn't even know. Yeah, we didn't find out until way after. I mean, it was almost a no-brainer, because you thought, well, unless we really fuck this thing up, I mean, what else do they have? They don't have anything else. So, but it was a long time. So after seeing everybody and everybody was back, so you kind of was like, oh, well, this thing went pretty well. And then there was a couple of table reads. Somewhere around the third one, I was like, this thing just keeps getting better. I mean, and that never happens. I mean, the pilot they've taken a year to write, and it's good, and then the rest of it just seems like they kind of slapped it together, and you're like, fuck, here I am. I knew this was gonna happen, and you're stuck.
It did get better every week. It was
It got
remarkable.
better every
it was
week.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And now, in fact, let's talk about that. Here's this new show. It debuts, and it seems fairly soon after the first one aired, for the fans anyways, that there was this immediate crazy buzz of everyone like had found a new toy, and they wanted to claim ownership.
Yeah.
And yeah. Oh, I told you to watch that. That sort of ownership that rarely happens, and when it does, it spreads.
Yeah.
Had you finished shooting the whole first season? No, you couldn't have before it debuted. So it debuted, and then you go back to work. Is there any sense at all? I mean, there's certain levels of curiosity depending on which actor, I'm sure, on the show that you talk to. This one is a little more in tune to the next one, is just about came to do the work. But how many episodes air before there starts to be a little sense of, oh, Jesus?
Well, you know, it didn't really get that sense. You didn't really get that sense until it was finished, until the first one was finished, and with DVR and people being able to sort of watch it as they wanted, and then the DVDs come out, and so it it was sort of the.
But you got all these amazing reviews.
The reviews, the clothes, the
Right.
look of it was different. Nobody had seen these people before. Ham looks like how was Cary Grant sitting there, and we never knew it.
Exactly.
I mean, he was somebody who's been around for a while, working, doing good work, and on
Right.
television there, right for everybody to see.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they cut his hair, and he looks like that, and he's the whole thing, him, everybody in it. It was just this little sort of perfect storm of events, and people could go back and look at it again where they couldn't a year before. You couldn't.
Right.
It wasn't as easy to TiVo stuff and to
Well, it was
watch
easy
it
to
when you
TiVo, but
wanted.
not enough people had TiVo compared
Yeah.
to the number of houses
Right,
that now have
right,
DVR.
right.
Yeah.
So I think that all kind of timed out.
So you're saying the first season, for your guys' perspective, was more of, well, let's just keep doing great work. The audience will find us more
I
and
mean, the
more.
reviews came out and they were
Crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
The reviews were crazy.
And then I guess the niche of people who want smart TV first, before anything else, is a smaller group than is watching Jersey Shore.
It is a niche. I mean, that's I mean, it's. I remember doing Desperate Housewives, and it was between. They said, "Do you want to do a year of Desperate Housewives?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to do Mad Men," and so no, and they said, "Well, we can split it between 2 seasons, so you can do the half a season, you can do Mad Men, and then you can come back and do the other half." And I said, I talked to Matt, and I said, I have to do this. I need the money.
Subsidize the work I'm doing at AMC.
Well, kind of. And he said, well, I remember him going, I wish you wouldn't. And I said, well, I mean, I'm going to. And then that thing was so popular
Right.
that then it was like airports, everything. People telling you what giving you their opinion, left, right, and center. And then there was somewhere in there, 6 months into it, where it started to flip, where it started to be people would stop you and you'd go, I've been waiting for people to tell me what an asshole I was of something, and now they were telling me what an asshole I was on Mad Men, or whatever. All their same opinions, but it was for something else, and you could feel it start to change.
Wow.
Yeah. But the numbers were tiny
Right.
compared to something like that.
Sure.
So
Yeah, it's not a
Little
numbers
s-
thing. It's more that weird
Yeah.
sensation, and I guess that's the perspective that you're addressing now. That the rest of us are sort of just curious about.
It's
and
not
so it was
really
a
a
much
numbers thing,
slower.
obviously.
It was a much slower sensation for those of you doing the actual work. And the
kind
rest of
of.
us are like. Just talking about, have you seen, have you seen, have you seen, have you seen, have you seen? And to us, it's an explosion. It's Hiroshima.
and we're just there doing it still
Right.
in that little studio where there's no fanfare or hoopla.
So then by the time you come back for the first table read for the second season, that's got to be a different sensation.
that, yeah, I mean, then
I think it was bona
you
fide
sort of start to know
at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you knew that you were involved in something that was, what was so good about it, the feeling that is so good about the show, is that not only is it popular, but it remains something you're proud of,
Right.
which doesn't happen.
Right.
I
It's
mean-
usually one or the other.
Yeah. What is it? Just heard the quote, Goddard said, if there's both a critical and an artistic, if something is both a critical and an artistic success, somewhere a mistake has been made. Or no,
Yeah.
no, somewhere there's been a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's basically how
The
my
most-
whole thing had gone. You're either doing something that's popular and it's non-specific and or you're doing something that's right there and no one sees it.
That's pretty much how I
you know.
compare doing this show to everything else I'm doing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Peoria. I had
You
a
were leaving for
wonderful
Peoria
time.
last week when I saw you, and
I was so
you were like,
excited.
and I love it there. I mean, it's kind of my go-to. It's like my go-to thing, and
I meant the road in general.
yeah,
That's
okay.
how I subsidized.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
I thought you liked Peoria.
Oh, I do. Actually, it's funny. You get in people. Whenever you go to a town that's that small, where the
been there.
runway at the airport is like a driveway, in comparison, the people are so appreciative that they make it seem like the most, like the greatest weekend of the year. And whereas, you know, you get to the big lights of the big city, and it's like, I'm sorry, who? What are you doing? Where are you?
Yeah.
We don't care.
Yeah.
And you know, I talk to people say, well, where do you play in Vegas? I don't want to be the 37th choice on the strip that you might contemplate going to see.
Yeah.
I'd rather be a giant star in Peoria.
And eat at the Bennigans.
What's that? And eat at the Bennigans. That's the beauty. You'll love the hotel. Really? How's the room service? It's the Bennigans. Sorry? The room service is a Bennigans? Yeah. The Bennigans is attached to the hotel, and that's the room service.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I don't want bar food. I'd rather have a meal.
Better than a pizzeria Uno.
Uh-huh. Well, now you're nitpicking.
Just saying. That's what I had in Orlando.
Whoa, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, there's love around every corner.
Hey, there can't be Arby's everywhere.
See?
I love Arby's.
Yes!
There it is. Now it's a done
I
deal.
love Arby's.
I'm the voice of Arby's. I only said that because no, I'm actually kidding. I do love Arby's, and I am the voice of Arby's.
Okay.
Oh, is
Better
that-
not be lying about this
Are you
Arby's
messing
love.
with us now? With the
No, I
voice
am the
of
voice of Arby's.
Seriously?
Yeah.
What?
I
That wasn't in your dossier.
I
How
try to
long have
keep
you
it
been
under
the
my
voice of Arby's?
In the last
Longer than
6
Ham's been the voice of Mercedes, I'll
That's
have you
right.
know.
In fact, I'm texting him back and forth. He does one session of Mercedes, and I'm doing 47 sessions of Arby's. And,
Right.
Yeah. And he's pulling up in a Mercedes, and I'm pulling up
With a sandwich.
with a fucking roast beef sandwich.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm happy to. Listen, Arby's, I love you.
Yeah. The
My family
Peoria
loves you.
The Peoria of
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the one in Santa Monica because they have the old-timey sign.
that giant
And then they have
old-timey
the bell
sign.
that you could ring for good
There aren't enough
service.
of them. There aren't enough of them.
Have you seen
Never that.
the old-timey original sort of signage they have in the Santa Monica one? You really ought to check it
No.
out. It's pretty
But
spectacular.
there's a whole campaign under the hat. They do. People
Yes.
take pictures under the hat.
This is a big-ass neon hat.
Yeah.
We're talking about.
We used to go as kids all the time.
That's
I
I
do
think why I
actually
like
love
it the
Arby's.
most is because it was the closest like fast food place to my home. So my mother and I went a lot. So
It
I
was
think that's
sliced roast
probably
beef.
why I really like it. Like,
It is.
oh, and by the way, Martha, her closest Arby's, you're right, there aren't enough.
17.
16 miles away.
16.
Martha's got to go
Really?
16 miles away
And
to
she-
get her Arby's fixed.
There aren't
She's
too many-
hooked now.
aren't too many Arby's
she
in
needs like an
Manhattan
Arby's
either.
tab.
She has you to thank for getting hooked on it. At Wizzy, that's Arlene, of course, pal of the show, has a tweet 5 for you, sir, as we like to continue including them. T5.
At Wizzy.
T5. Hit it, Keckner. T5 forever now. T5, number 1, stage or screen?
Stage.
East Coast or West Coast?
Jeez.
Right?
West.
You got some nerve. Comedy or drama?
Comedy. Gin
or vodka?
Vodka.
Glasses or contacts? I think we have physical evidence.
At Wizzy. What the fuck? Are you watching this thing, At Wizzy?
Yeah, of course she is. Stage or screen? Well, that is an interesting question.
Yeah, I mean, I want to do a play, so I said that.
When you're doing
I'm
8
trying to
shows
find
a
play.
week, you try to figure out, you call your agent and say, you got to get me another
Yeah.
script.
Get me out of here.
Get me a movie. And then as soon as you're away from it,
Yeah. When's the last play?
never.
Never done a play?
No, sir. See, because I come from stand-up comedy.
Yeah. It's almost
And
the
I,
same.
and, well, the difference is,
The way his act, it's the same.
see what she's
Doesn't
saying?
change.
This is a
Tonight
rich,
it's a play. Apparently, tonight it's
He did the
O'Neill.
whole act.
yeah. She simply meant the by rote, memorized nature, show after show.
Yeah.
Allegedly, what I'm doing is taking the audience on a ride of my choosing for an hour. I may do similar things in similar order so that she can make fun of me, but having the option of not having to do them
Yeah.
in the exact same. And also the, we almost met on Laughter on the 23rd floor, which I was supposed to do. J.K. Simmons says hello, by the way. He was here a couple of weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Or was it last week?
JK was here
Here in the seat?
2 weeks ago.
He was our guest 2 weeks ago. And we talked about laughter.
Line.
And we mentioned, at the end, we mentioned that you were coming up, and he said, I love him. He's my favorite. Because we were talking about the character actor on that show.
Yeah.
So let's go a little experience of Neil Simon,
Yeah.
working with the great Doc Simon. Again, Nathan Lane.
Yep.
Jesus, no getting away. And now he's real king shit
Yeah.
in that.
Oh, he was the shit in that. that was one of the best years I've ever had. I mean, the getting the job. Oh my God! I was here in L.A. They were auditioning people, and I was in New York, and they were auditioning Jerry Zaks, and I said, "Can I audition?" And they said no. I think they wanted only Jews, until they realized this was Neil Simon, and they never. Neil Simon is famous for hiring Gentiles to play Jews.
Matthew Broderick.
There you go.
One of his greatest muses.
Yeah. So anyway, they wouldn't let me in the building. And I was actually out in front of the theater in a phone booth saying, "I'm out in front of the building. Just tell them to let me in. It'll be 5 minutes." No.
Why didn't you write him a note?
Yeah. I hadn't thought of that yet. And then I was out here. I'd let it go. Somehow had to come out here. Was out here. They said, "Okay, they'll see you." So I got an audition out here, and I, went in, and it was good enough to get a call back with Neil in New York.
Right.
I had to go back to New York, and do that. That was nerve-wracking. Doing Neil Simon for Neil Simon is fucking scary.
Yeah, let's walk it through a little.
890 Broadway, the famous 890 Broadway, where all those plays and musicals and all that shit happens.
Are you on a stage?
You're in a
he's
room. You're in
sitting-
one of the old school rehearsal rooms. Like that's the place.
And it's just him?
No, it's Jerry
Jerry's
Zaks
there,
and
a couple of other people.
and producers and Neil and readers and this and that. And Jerry, I remember the guy who I was reading with wasn't going fast enough for Jerry,
Right.
and he's literally like hawking the guy going, and it made me feel great. I was like, he's yelling at the other guy,
Right.
so I must be doing something right.
At least I'm keeping the pace.
Yeah.
And then Neil talks at all?
Neil doesn't say anything.
Famous for silence.
Yeah, and then I got the job, and then and
Amazing cast.
oh my God, I mean, Nathan,
Brad Garrett?
no, Nathan, Paul Provenza,
Oh my.
J.K. Simmons, Mark Lynn Baker,
Right.
Randy Graff, two-time Tony-winning Randy Graff, plays Lucille. I can't remember the real writers' names anymore. And the great, he used to call himself Nathan used to call him the three most exciting words in show business, Louis J. Stadlin. Do you know
Yeah.
Louis Stadlin?
Oh God, of course. Isn't he Dirty Rotten Scoundrels guy? No.
No, he's
no,
just
no.
he's a great stage actor.
Right.
Who's been in a million things. It's just great. Anyway, he plays. God, I can't think of the guys' names anymore. He was just a guy, Milt Fields.
Ah, yes.
And who was known in that room for just having a million shitty jokes, and maybe one good one in there. And he wore a beret and a cape, and it was great. It was just great fun. And Neil was in great spirits. Known for maybe not so much being
Right.
sometimes, and he would write jokes on. He wrote me a line. There was the Mel Brooks character, which was Provenza, and then it wasn't. It was another guy. He comes in and pisses everybody off. He come in late. He come in, and he said the line was. So I played
Larry
Gelbart, and he said, somebody calls him crazy. You're crazy. Oh, I see. I'm crazy. Like Tolstoy was crazy. Like Dostoevsky was crazy. And the line he goes, and then he says that, and you say, and then he's thinking for a minute, and it's like on the back of, he goes, give me a piece, give me a pencil. And like on the back of my manila envelope, like, give me a piece of paper. You say, no, they were crazy in a brilliant way. You're sort of a fucking waste of time crazy. And I mean, if the thing got there were 2 times he did that for me, and the laughs went on for like a minute.
Oh my God.
He goes, there was a line where Louis Stadlin, this whole thing about a white suit, and Max hates white, the Sid Caesar character hates white suits. You wore a white suit, what the fuck were you doing wearing? And everyone that comes in goes, what are you doing wearing a white suit? And by the time Max comes in, he's under the table, and I come in last, and he's been shit on for wearing a white suit by everybody who comes in, and I come in, and he goes, you're not going to say, you're not going to give me shit about my white suit, Mr. Conservative, Mr. Fine, whatever, what is he, Mr. Madison Avenue? And I say, he goes, you're not going to tell me what I look like? And I look at him and I go, the last rabbi in he goes, the first rabbi in the Amazon. and the thing went on, the laugh goes on for 45 seconds. We're just sitting there, looking at each other.
I'm waiting for the laugh
like
to
that,
stop.
and then we would do stuff like we'd start laughing, go, and then the laugh would start again. I'd never experienced that.
Yeah.
And you go to rehearse at Duke University. Manny Eisenberg was his producer, longtime producer, had a teaching position there. So he would take all the plays and they would go to Duke University and you'd go out of town and rehearse and work it all out for whatever, a couple weeks. Come off stage one night after that, and the thing was, it was like that one after the other.
I remember
there was a million jokes.
Crazy, nonstop.
And he said, I've never gotten laughs like that. I said, why? And he goes, I have never, ever gotten laughs like that. And I said, are you kidding me? What? We're in like the East Bumfuck, and he's like, no, none of the plays have ever gotten laughs like this. And we came into town and Frank Rich shit on it. It was the second to last review he wrote. He wrote that review, and then he wrote the review for Angels in America, and he quit. And he said, it's a bunch of jokes. The play doesn't really work, and it's and as many of the jokes die as hit.
He's an idiot.
And it literally went from Coney Island every night, people screaming. Lou Jacoby came back. I remember looking out in the audience. Remember Lou Jacoby?
You cut the turkey without me?
In the audience going, people like laughing and standing up and sitting back down, not standing up and sitting down and not knowing wanting to leave, wanting to stay. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. And all those guys, and Nathan is just unbelievable. Yeah. Nathan Lane changed every line reading in the play one night, just for the hell of it, and got every same laugh. Completely turned the whole thing on its head and got every same laugh in every same spot.
Just to show he could.
It was unbelievable. Yeah, he's incredible.
He is a master of that domain.
Yeah.
We don't want you to tell us anything, not even a syllable, about the season that's premiering tonight. Other than to say, comment on how it feels to be back in this particular saddle, this particular ride. When last we saw you all, there were arguably bigger changes at the end of season 3 and more unanswered questions than ever before as to where the hell we're going. And for the first time, spoiler alert, look the other way if you're not all caught up. For the first time, you're losing possibly losing series regulars.
Yes.
There's a sense of that anyways, without answering that particular question. Right. What is the sense just going back to work and not knowing for however long your hiatus is, what the answers to those questions are yourselves?
Yeah. It's, now season 4. I've never been on anything that's gone remotely this long.
And by the way, a few of us lost money on it.
That
you would last on a show for.
Yeah, me too, actually. I bet against myself. I was just thinking that. It's a little bizarre, actually, that you start to find yourself maybe taking things for granted, like being in this particular place, being at this studio, like this is our home, when really, this thing could get yanked at any second. It doesn't look like it's going to go that way right away, but you never know.
You do never know, that's a for sure.
Yeah,
So walking on what appears to be new sets as agencies are changing locations.
Yeah, very exciting changes creatively. I think that was something that he's never been afraid to do.
Well, as you were quoted in one of these things as saying that you admired the fact that he raced up the ladder and burned it behind him in this particular ending of season 3.
Yeah.
And so there must be a certain sense, I guess, I'm wondering, coming back to a season 4 of, holy shit. Is there a sense for you? Because there certainly is that sense for the viewers. But being in it,
yeah, there was a sense of where were we going to be. No one knew where we were going to be. But I have to tell you, being in this person's hands for this long, I think one of the things you take for granted is how good it is going to be.
Right.
Because I've never sat in that room, and one of the most exciting things we do is sit around and have a table read, and no one knows really. You get the script the night before,
But that's just one reading. You don't really have
one
a sense
reading. You don't
of-
really know. You don't know. You don't know how it's going to play. I wonder if it's going to work. I wonder if it. I mean, you know, it's going to. You're shocked every time you read it. You think, I mean, can you write a better scene than that?
How did he do it again?
Yeah, and every character. I mean, so you, I guess, do take for granted the fact that
The quality is
that
going to
this, this writing is always going to be that good. And I assume there'll be a point at which either we'll stop doing it or it won't be that good,
right.
or one will follow the other.
Mathematically, he can't possibly keep it up, and yet he has.
He has, and he does, and it's as good this season, if not better than ever.
All right, so without giving away anything else, you directed your first episode, not only of this show, but the first episode of a television show that you've ever directed.
I did.
And you were watching over other directors' shoulders for the last couple of seasons, thinking I might, or in preparation knowing you wanted to?
I, last year, asked if I could trail one of the directors. Shadow, I think is the actual term they use. A guy named Phil Abraham, who is the original cinematographer of the show, and has become a director. He became a director on Sopranos. He was also the DP on Sopranos.
So you shadowed Phil.
So I shadowed Phil, and great, you know, and then, yeah, you know, and then I asked to do that first, without ever saying I want to direct. I just wanted, can I do this?
Sure.
And they said yeah, and Phil said yeah, that's fine, and so I did that, and then I did it again. And then we finished for the year, and then Matt and I spoke on the phone and about something, and he was coming to town or whatever, and I said, so, all right, well, it's not any secret, I guess, to you, but I would like to direct one, and I wish you would tell me, if that's a possibility, what I have to do to make that happen. He said, all right, let me think about it. So then he was like, yeah, hemming and hawing and, you know, leaning one way or the other, I guess, and then he came to town, and he asked me to direct a short film. You know, do that first, which was, you know, a reasonable thing, having directed nothing.
Sure.
But by the time he asked me that, there was only about a month to go before we started shooting, so it was almost impossible to do. So I wrote him a note saying, here's why it's impossible to do, I think, and here's why it's irrelevant to the whole thing, because all this whole system is in place. There's me directing a short film would be finding people like you to do me a favor and finding places to shoot and do all that, you know, and it wouldn't really be about, it would be about all getting it done.
Wouldn't be about fitting into a mechanism that works really well.
Right, and how I know these people and I know these actors and I know this show and all that. So
Once again,
anyway,
you
he
were
bought it
able-
and he gave me an episode.
Once again, you were able to articulate your feelings in a note
In a note.
and got a very important opportunity out of it.
Yes, an e-note.
May I say one thing? You should write more notes.
Right, probably should.
Because your batting average is extraordinary.
That's right. I didn't think of that.
So how much did you love it, and are you hooked for life?
I am, and I loved it, and I am. It's extraordinary.
I was told have an answer for everything. Were you prepared for that
You know what? I
aspect?
never don't have an answer. I mean, that's the thing. I'm a pretty opinionated person, especially around that place. You know, I mean, if someone's going to ask me a question, I probably will have an answer for it.
You had 3 years to develop an opinion on everything.
Yeah, you know, so I've never found myself in shortage of that, and so when they ask you, I love that. That's kind of my favorite part about it. Somebody goes, the blue one or the red one? The red one. I mean, I don't know. You just go with what you think. I mean, you are an extension of him. You go through these meetings, and I mean, maybe the best part of the process is watching this person, Matt Weiner, have this creative live in this creative moment that he's having.
Right.
It's amazing. I mean, the production meetings and the tone meeting is this meeting that you go to where he basically reads through the script line by line, stage direction by stage direction, and explains why he wrote it the way he wrote it.
Oh
I
my
almost
God.
did this, I almost did that, but here's why I did this, and here's what the whole show episode is about, and here's what this scene is about, and why it fits in thematically with this episode, and you're like, oh my God, that's why that.
He gives you a Bible every week.
Every week.
Extraordinary.
And I mean, and
what
the
a
meeting
joy
going
for him.
6 hours long. You sit there for 6 hours. You
What a
have lunch
joy
and
it
you do-
must be for him as well to be able to articulate what every scene and every beat actually means instead of counting on people understanding.
Well, I think every show runner does that to some degree or another. Some, maybe they don't. I don't know. But yeah, so by the end of it, if you're unclear about what the thing is, what the tone of the scene is, what the intentions of the characters are, what to avoid, what to go for, how to shoot it, maybe. He'll say you shoot it the way you want, but he wants it in a particular way. So you have to read between the lines a little bit. But it's really up to you. It's on you. If you don't ask that question, you don't know. It's because you didn't ask the question. So I basically just said, look, I know the part I will be comfortable with will be on the set with the actors and all that, and I don't have a problem with that. The shooting of it, I just said to the cinematographer, I'm going to say, here's how I see it, and if that sounds idiotic, then you just tell me, and we'll do something else. I figured I don't have any ego about that because I've never done it before, and I don't have any reason to think that I'd be good at it. So.
And how'd that part go?
You know what? It's not rocket science. I mean, he makes it look beautiful. That's his job. You walk in the door, you sit down. There's only 2 chairs, so I don't know which side you want to sit on. You know, I mean, you leave it up to those people too. You've got to remember how good they are.
Right. And then
you don't have to tell John Hamm to do anything. I mean, you know, a little bit more of this. It's all just becomes variety.
Right.
You know, and if you can give them anything organic. By that I mean, you know, remember you've come from here and this has just happened, and you've just gotten over the fact that this has happened. So maybe it's not, you know, what you want is for someone to say, take the day off and go home and go to bed. Something along those lines so that you get something emotional working as opposed to a little happier on that line, which, you know, you don't like to hear as an actor, smile on that line. And then you forget how to smile.
Right.
And the only reason you have all that information is because you've read the script now because of all those meetings and all those drafts. They go, I never thought of that. And you go, well, you would have if you'd read it 15 times
Mathematically, you're more prepared. Exactly. You're more familiar.
So you look like you know what you're doing because you've read the script so many times.
Right.
I mean, and you know, and then there's that being down there and doing it, and it's just, and those people are all so good. It's like being chucked in with the Yankees.
And you've been knighted to do it again?
Yeah.
So there you go.
They liked it enough to give me another one. Yeah.
Then you achieved the goal.
I guess so. Now's my chance to really fuck it up.
How about an hour 50? Does that seem about right?
Is that how long we've been going? Jesus, I gotta get out of here.
You do, my friend, and you are seconds away from being relieved of all duties. I can't thank you enough for sharing as much insight as you have, not only on your own life and upbringing, but also the show, which is obviously on everyone's mind who's tuning in tonight and knew about your being here today and wanted as much as you could give us without any actual crumbs in terms of what's about to unfold. Honestly, thanks so very much.
You're welcome. It was great.
For sharing. And somewhat painless. We ran long, so we unfortunately, as much as I know you were looking forward to who tweeted, we are going to wait till next week.
Well,
yeah, thank you.
We'll give you a version. We'll give you a version of the whole game.
I'm pretty sure it was you. I didn't want to say anything, but during Chester, a little something.
Jesus.
John, you know what?
Jesus, John.
Yeah, I think your Larry King should be done as Chester.
I thought that when I was.
I think I'd like to see Chester playing the Larry King game. I will give you the 3 rules again.
Yeah.
Chester doing a bad Larry King impression, and then that moment when Larry shares something on the air that none of us want to know about himself, you know. And then just go to the phone and give me whatever funny-sounding city you've ever come across in your life that you remember, Poughkeepsie, whatever.
What does he say? God, I wish I watched Larry King now.
It's not a matter of content as much as it is Larry kind of losing it and telling. I'll get you another bad example.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, I like to teabag the gravy boats before the guests arrive. Schenectady, hello. You know what I'm saying? It's really that kind of a what? Wait a second, what just happened?
That's fantastic.
No, but I've been doing that for a year and a half. That's the only reason it's fantastic. Again, you know what? I'm going to help you.
Good.
Exactly as Chester would imagine doing it. Take all the pressure off yourself.
John!
There's your camera.
At the end of my career, I just want everybody to know that I've been wearing a diaper because I shit myself. Swampscott, Massachusetts, you're on.
When in doubt, take it downtown. Thank you so much. Honest to goodness gracious. I hope you weren't too traumatized by us theming up the dress.
No.
Which is a first in 57 shows. Yeah.
Seen some of us.
People out back there.
We'll see the crew in a second.
Yeah. In fact, yes.
Maybe I should stand up so they can see my fake ass.
We would love it if you would.
Go over to the table.
Yeah.
Come on over here and show
Walk
everybody
over
your
here,
ass.
doll, now that you mentioned it. Before we go to the crew gag, because they've got a little Mad Men theme. Be very careful. We don't have insurance. You, in order to pull off the Joni.
Oh, wait, I'll come in.
In order to properly pull off the Joni.
Here we go.
Yeah, here, I'll go this way.
Okay.
And now you can maybe point your ass towards,
my
yeah.
ass.
You literally added four inches to your caboose to pull off the Joni. You want to go a little wide there, Dr. Chen, to really give everyone a sight? Oh, look at this, Joni. You got the pen. Even John was like, holy shit, you got the pen.
Yeah.
And this was how you spent last...
Well, this was my Halloween costume from last year, so let's get that straight. It's not like I ran out and bought this stuff for the show.
And you had a
So that's
wig
true.
made by, I remember, by Gloria.
Yes, who worked on the show.
Who worked on the show and was Emmy nominated, if not won. I think she might have won. Anyways,
tough to crouch.
congratulations on pulling off the best dress.
Fantastic. Best fake ass today.
Yes, by far the best fake ass. Now, while this has been going on, while we've been in here chatting for an hour 54, our crew works just outside these walls, and we often wonder what the hell they've been up to during this passage of time. So,
I heard them laughing at you.
yeah, well, let's take a look by drifting out there to see just what the hell everybody's smoking. Checking out someone's piece. That seems inappropriate. So they were dressed up and they were checking out the gams.
Checking out the...
It's weird, Mike didn't make the cut. Was he supposed to be the guy delivering water because he's dressed so casually?
Sammy, bringing it home. All right, I want to remember, John, sit there and comfortably while I wrap up, please. Thank you very much. I want to remember to invite you all to stick around. We now have a more of a lineup on Sundays with the thisweekend.com internet network. Stay tuned to This Week in Comedy with Ed Krasnick, followed by This Week in Movies with Farrell Roth. These are the two shows that follow mine on the thisweekend.com network. And I want to congratulate those two crazy kids for doing a hell of a job. And also put this out there. I tweeted about this earlier in the week. Knowing that John was coming in, and yet another amazing opportunity to reach out in the world of show business along the lines of sponsorship. Here was an opportunity to reach out to AMC, which I'm sure spends millions of dollars advertising each year, when we had this opportunity here. What we need at thisweekend.com is an additional sales exec to handle our entertainment shows at the network. If you would like said opportunity, contact us at, believe it or not, contact at thisweekend.com, and we'll talk about your promising future with our network. We do have great shows lined up, as I mentioned, next Sunday, one of the all-time great stand-up comedians, Larry Miller, followed by your football fans, Rich Eisen from the NFL Network, who's going to break down the coming season for us, followed by Neil Patrick Harris, just a couple to name a few if we may. Go to the site there, kevinpollakchatshow.com, to check out the full schedule. This has been a great, great, great day for a lot of us who are huge fans of John and his work on the show, as well as the premiere tonight. And we have much plans. I'm sure those of you watching now do as well. It's a very exciting night, so I'm just going to get right the fuck to it.
I made a bundt cake.
And we've got a bundt cake. We have so many edible goodies. I made a bundt cake too, just now.
I made a bundt cake.
Wait, I'm still making bundt.
Elaine made a pot roast.
Pot roast and all your root vegetables. All right. Until next week, as always, get out of my face.